Hello, hello, hello. How is everybody doing today? I know that I have not talked to you guys in a while. I have been at the office. Y'all see, I got stuff everywhere. Over here, getting my tax preparation and doing a ton of taxes over here. But yeah, so I wanted to jump on here because this is a topic that I think we definitely need to talk about. So I'm going to encourage you now to share this information with someone. Go ahead and click share. I'm streaming live from my personal page, my business page, as well as my YouTube channel. So give me 1 second and I just want to make sure that it's actually working. So 1 second. And again, if you guys can hear me, just press one. Let me turn on the comments. If you can hear me, go ahead and press one so that I know you can hear me. Give me 1 second, guys. One second. I'll be right with you. If you guys can hear me, please go ahead and press one. I'm just checking to make sure we're good. Operating two computers over here. Just let me know that you can hear me. All right, so I see we are live on YouTube. Great. And need to make sure we are live from our Taxmaster Plus page as well. And we are. Awesome. Thank you, Denise. Thank you, Lily, Shakita, Tyrella. Thank you, thank you, thank you. All right. Awesome. Okay, let me turn my notifications off on my cell phone, y'all, because they will start ringing here. Get both of these phones turned off. All right, so thank you guys so very much for joining me today. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Tiffany Murphy, and I am an income tax specialist based out of Richmond Hill, Georgia. I specialize in individual and small business tax returns. I attended Georgia State University, where I earned my bachelor's of business administration and business management, as well as Grand Canyon University, where I earned a master's degree in special education. So, as you can tell, my background in education is one of the reasons why I felt that I needed to teach you guys the proper way to fill out a W 4. Those of you who are interested in having your taxes prepared, I will drop the link down in the chat for you. If you are, let me see here, and I'll pin that to the bottom. In case you are, those of you watching on YouTube, you will see that information there. For some reason, it's not letting me pin it, but that's okay. I did drop it in the chat. Okay. All right. So let's get started. So everybody can hear me. So who knows what a W-4 is? You guys know. First, let me just get a temperature of the room. Who actually knows what a W-4 is? Type it in the chat if you can tell me what is a W-4, first of all. So today we're going to be talking about how to fill out a W-4 correctly. And I'm going to tell you the reason why I have decided. I'll tell you later because I don't want to give away the answer to what a W-4 is until I see a couple of comments in the chat. So tell me, what do you think a W-4 is? What do you know about a W-4? Go ahead and just type that in the chat for me. I know it is a little delayed too, so sometimes I'll say something, but you guys hear it a little later. So if I pause, It's because of that. I saw a couple comments on my YouTube channel. Somebody said, "Why do you talk so slow?" I'm a Georgia peach. Okay. This is how we talk. And I talk slow so that people can understand me. Okay. So, Mr. Whoever left that comment on my YouTube channel, he said, "Why do you talk so slow? Just get to the point." So, sir, this is how I talk. Okay. Okay. Wish I could do the Cardi B. Okay. I can't do it. All right. So, Renee says it is a deduction from an employer. Denise says it's a deduction. Okay. So we're going to go into exactly what it is and how to fill it out the right way. All right. Tanova says it's the form you fill out for deductions at your job. You are correct. You are absolutely correct. Let me get another cough drop real quick, y'all. You are absolutely correct, right? So let me tell you guys the reason why I decided to do this live. Y'all know I don't know what type of tax preparer you may have been used to going to, but any of my clients, they can tell you Tiffany is going to tell you the real deal, whether you like it or not. I'm not in the business of just saying you can do something and it won't affect you. I'm not in the business of telling you misinformation. So if I see something that needs changing, I always like to address it. So this year, I have had so many clients that have done something wrong when it comes to filling out their W-4. So with the W-4 is the form that you fill out with your employer that tells how much in federal taxes. The W-4 is used to calculate the amount of federal taxes that come out of your pay, right? So anytime you start a job, they're going to ask you for your driver's license. They're going to ask you for your social security card. They're going to ask you to fill out an I-9 to verify your identity. And they're going to give you a W-4 if they are an employer. Now, if you're a 1099, you're going to get a W-9. That's a whole different discussion. But if you are an employee, your boss tells you where to go, what time to be there, you get a W-4. Okay? My truck drivers that have your bosses treating you like employees but giving you a 1099, that's all I can say about that. I get a lot of those calls too. Truck drivers who are not paying for their fuel, but being given a 1099 instead of a W-2 when actually they should be a W-2. But that's a whole nother discussion that we'll have at another time. So with the W-4, I'm going to see if I can share my screen with y'all. Hold on. And I need you to comment and let me know if you can see it. Let's see. Let's see what this shows. Window. Okay. All right. Can everybody see that? All right. Can everybody see that screen? Let me know if you see it before I start talking. All right. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Okay. So the W-4 that you fill out, it affects your W-2, right? So every year it never fails. I posted a post earlier today where I showed you one of my clients made $52,000. She had 2 dependents. She has to pay back taxes. You're wondering, well, she has dependents. Why does she have to pay over $2,000 back in taxes? It's because she did not fill out her W-4 form correctly. So that W-4 form is what's reflected in box number 2. on your W-2. So if you get a W-2, and I always ask my clients this whenever they call the office and they're asking me some information, or, I'll sometimes say, "What's in your box number two? Please tell me." I literally just had this discussion today with one of my clients. I said, "What's in box number two? Please tell me it's not empty." And they said, "Well, box number one has 26,000, but box number two has nothing." Whenever I hear that, that tells me that that person went exempt on their taxes. So if you are an employee, yeah, if you're an employee and you have a W-2, I want you to look at your box number two. That box number two should not be empty. If that box number two is empty, that means that you have gone exempt. That means you've gone exempt. Has anybody ever gone exempt? Type in the chat for me. Have you ever gone exempt on your job? Okay. Have you ever gone exempt on your job? Right. So let me tell you a misconception that I hear a lot of times, and it irks my nerves every time I hear it. And I want you guys to tell me I'm not the only person that's ever heard this. Have you ever heard, "Girl, I just go exempt 6 months, and then the other 6 months I pay taxes. You'll be all right. You won't have to owe"? Has anybody ever heard someone say that they were going to do that? Or have you done it? Type in the chat. Let me know. Someone has said, "Oh, it's okay. You can just go exempt for 6 months and then change it back in 6 months." Or is that just me and people that I know that have done that? Uh-huh. Okay. She, her, hers. Okay. She, her, hers. Renee has heard it. Tanova, you've heard that a lot. Right. Right. And let me tell you something. That is a misconception. That is a misconception. Denise, you haven't done it, but you've heard it. Right. Exactly. So let me tell you who gets away with that sometimes, depending on the situation. I had a client last year, I'll never forget it. She made about $25,000. And her box number two was zero, it was empty. And I told her, I said, "Why didn't you pay any taxes?" Or I think she might have had very little in taxes. And I said, "Did one of your friends tell you that it was okay to not pay any taxes for us? Did you go exempt 6 months and pay taxes 6 months?" And she said, "I sure did." I said, "Now I want you to think back." I said, "Who, you said someone at your job told you to do that?" She didn't have any kids. She said, "Yes." And I said, "Did the person that told you that, do they have children?" And they said, "Yes, they do." Well, this is exactly why. Because a person who has dependents, they have a little more exemptions than you would because you have no dependents, right? So the things that that person can get away with, you can't. So sometimes they might be okay because they have dependents, and it depends on the income level. If I'm making 100,000 or 60,000 a year and I go exempt, that's going to affect me differently than someone who makes 18,000. If I have children and someone else doesn't, it's going to affect me. The client I had today, remember, she made 52,000. She had two dependents, but she still had to pay back because she went exempt. That same client, if she had two dependents and she made 18,000, probably would have got a refund. What do you say? Uncle Sam says, "If you don't let me get it every 2 weeks, then I'll see you by April 15th. Carl, you are absolutely right. You are absolutely right. So let me tell you guys how you need to be filling this form out. First of all, I need everybody watching this live to go ahead and click share because I really want this information to get out there. So I'm going to share my screen again. All right, so I'm going to show you the form that you're used to, right? Can everybody see that? Can everybody see that? Let me know if you can see it. Because I hear this come in as well. So let me give you guys a little history lesson. So when I ask my clients and I'll say, why did you go exempt? Or why didn't you pay enough taxes? They'll say, well, I put married in one, or I put single in one. The last time that has been the way to fill out a W-4 was 2019. You are now on a 2022 form. So that has been 3 years ago. This is no longer the W-4. This form is now extinct. There is no more putting single. Guys, remember that? Put single, put married, married but at a higher single rate, total number of allowances you're claiming here. No. Those days are actually gone, right? It no longer is in existence. I want to know if you can see me typing. Can you guys see me typing? Tell me this really quick. I'm trying to see something. I want to make sure you can see me typing here. Can you guys see me typing in that W-4? I know I'm sharing it, but I just want to make sure that you can actually see what I'm typing because I'm flipping between screens. And so I want to make sure before I talk too much. So just comment in the chat and let me know if you can see it. Nobody's commenting, so I'll wait. If you guys could see where I typed in, I think you can. Let me type up something else and you guys can. Did you see me typing that? Tanova, Denise, could you guys see me typing on that form? I want to make sure you can see me typing on that form before I tell you how to fill out the form correctly. So I want to make sure everybody can actually see me typing. So just let me know if you can see it. Okay, yay. All right, good. So now I can flip back to the other screen. Okay, so before, this is the form that you were used to. Let me zoom in on my other computer too. So this is the form that you were used to seeing, right? This is the form where you used to be able to just click single, and then it would ask you how many allowances you were claiming, and you would say, oh, it's me plus my 3 kids, so I'm going to put 4. This form is no more. So I want you to get that out of your head. Now I'm going to tell you something else that has messed you guys up as well. Remember what I said, this form has been extinct now for 3 years. If you've been on a job for longer than 3 years, you're still paying taxes as though it was 2019. Your information is still based on what you've put in here from back then. That's incorrect. You need to update your W-4 form. You need to update it. If you hear nothing else I say today, update your form. Now I'm going to show you what the new form looks like. Okay. I'm going to show you what the new form looks like. It's totally different. And if you guys know I'm a former teacher, if you got a pen, go ahead and take some notes because you're going to need to write this down. And I'm going to get my calculator. So the new form is a little bit differently. Let's see here. Get my calculator. All right. So I'm going to close out the old 19. We don't need that anymore. All right. This cough drop has stuck to my teeth, y'all. It is so annoying. Hold on. Okay. I had to fix that. All right. What's the correct way to fill it out? I'm about to show you right now, honey bun. Let me pull up, let me share my screen. Make sure that's the right form. Here we go. Now, so I just showed you what the old one looked like. Now, this is what is out now. 2022's version. Please, 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 please take note of the changes. All right. So I'm having to kind of flip back and forth. Okay. So this is the new form. So anybody, if you're on a job, you can go to your employer at any time. There, it doesn't have to be at the first of the year. It doesn't have to be at any particular time. Tell your employer, hey, I need to change my W-4. I just did my taxes. I had to pay back. I wasn't taking out enough taxes. So the first thing you're going to do, of course, is you're going to just put in your name. We're going to just pretend like this is John Jenkins, John Anthony Jenkins. So we're going to put John A. Jenkins. Let me give this disclaimer as well. In no way am I giving legal advice or any financial advice. I am just discussing with you what I suggest for my clients. Okay? Because I don't want anybody to say, you told me to do this or something. No. So let me just give my disclaimer. Okay? This is what I would do. How about I'm going to say it that way? If I had a W-4, this is how I would fill it out. Okay? All right. So we're going to put in the address. So we're going to say we're at 125 Wilson Way, Atlanta, Georgia, 30310. Okay? Can everybody see that so far? Can we see that? Good. Please click like, click share. Click like and click share. Click like and click share. Can everybody see that? Thank you so much. All right. Thank you, Arian. I appreciate that. Thank you, Denise. All right. So if your box number 1 that I showed you earlier was 0, empty, very little taxes, a good rule of thumb, in my opinion, is to allot about 10% of your income in taxes. So if you have a W-2, if you have a check and you make $1,000 a week, 100 of that should be paid in taxes. If you get your check stub and you see that federal taxes withheld says $10, have you paid enough? What y'all think? 10% is a general rule. Do not hold me to this 10% because it depends on your income level. I have clients that make 100 and some thousand a year paying $25,000, $30,000 a year in taxes. Depends on your income level. Depends on your tax bracket. But a general rule of thumb that you can go by is about 10% of what you make gross, not net, should be paid in taxes. Because when you get your W-2, that's not your net, that's your gross. They're basing that percentage off your gross. So if you know every week you get paid $500, how much should you be paying in taxes approximately? Type it in the chat for me. If you make $500 a week, approximately how much should you be paying in taxes? Come on, mathematicians. If you make $500 a week, how much should you be paying in taxes? That is absolutely correct. Hey, Taniqua. How you doing, girl? See, Taniqua used to work for me. She was given a 1099 because she was an independent contractor. All right, so that's right, $50. Okay, $50. So 10%, approximately 10% of what you make. I don't care if you make $2,000 a week. I don't care if you make $200 a week. Keep that number in your head. 10%. If you make $200, 20 of that should be paid in taxes. If you made $6,000 for the week. 600 of that should have been paid in taxes. There should never be a time when you file your taxes that you have no idea how much money you have to pay back, because you're like, I get clients all the time. They're like, I didn't know they weren't taking anything out on me. I thought I told them to change it. What? I went back, and after I went exempt for 6 months, I told them to change it, but they never did. Or um, I didn't even know. How do you think you can find that out? You get, even if you get direct deposit, you get a check stub. You have to do your due diligence and look at your stub. Look at your check stub and see what came out of my check. If you know you went to your HR department and you told them that you needed to take out more taxes, and you looked at that form, that check stub, and it's the same as it was the previous couple of check stubs, that means something has not been changed. So you have to do your part. You can't depend on them. You have to be adamant. Hey, I need you guys to take out more taxes on me. Hey, so let me show you how to fill this form out. All right, so right here, you have to decide whether you're going to be single or married filing separately, married filing jointly, or qualifying widower, or head of household. Single. If you are, okay, some people, y'all be giving out such misinformation. Some people will say, girl, you better put that you married on your W-4 so they'll take out less taxes on you. No, ma'am. Don't listen to that. No, no, no. Girl, you better put that you married, because if you put you married, even though you're single, they'll take out less taxes. That's true. But you might end up owing taxes at the end of the year, depending on how much of a difference that is. So here it is. If you are single, meaning you have no children, or you are married, but you don't file with your husband, or you are single and you do have children, but you don't file head of household because you do not pay at least 50% of the expenses in that house, and you are not married and filing by yourself. So if you're married filing separately, let me correct that. If you're married filing separately, or single with dependents, or single without dependents, you would choose single. Married filing jointly, or qualifying widower. That's self-explanatory, but I'm going to explain it. If you know you file your taxes with your husband or your wife, you both combine your income on a tax return, you are considered married filing joint. You would click that one. Qualifying widower. You guys know I lost my father back in August, right? I'm in the process of doing my mom's taxes. So she would actually be filing as a qualifying widower, because in 2021, she lost her spouse. So if she was filling out a W-4 and it was, after that time, let's say this was January, she would have filled out, or whatever time frame to make it a qualifying widower, she would have selected that option. Head of household. And it even tells you, check only if you are unmarried and pay more than half the cost of keeping up a home for yourself and a qualifying individual. So if you are paying more than 50% of the cost, you can't say, well, my mama lives with me. Well, if mama's paying the majority of the bills, she's the head of household, not you. So this is specific to people who are paying the majority of the bills in their home, and they are considered head of household. Okay. So if I have children and I live with my parents, I am going to select single. If I live with my boyfriend, who is a truck driver, and he makes 80,000 a year while I make 30, I am going to select single. If I have my own place and I pay all of my bills, I am going to select head of household. Okay. So it just depends. Everybody's situation is differently. If these situations change throughout the tax year, you're going to want to change that. So let's just say you were married, but then you get a divorce. Well, now you need to go back to human resources and you need to tell them, hey, I need to change my W-4. I'm no longer married filing joint. I'm now single. Or I'm no longer single, or I'm no longer married filing separate. Now my husband and I are no longer together. Now I need to be changed to head of household. That's the first step. You guys with me so far? Let me know. Type in the chat. Am I losing you? You guys got that? Let me know before I move on, because the next part is where you got to get your calculations right. So let me know if I got you right there. Let me know if you're finding this information good. Tell me what you think about this so far. Tell me in the chat. Are you finding this information helpful? Um, are you learning anything? Just tell me in the chat what you think. She, her, hers. I don't know why I like saying that. She, her, hers. Thank you. Okay. Thank you. Got it. Yes. Very helpful. Good. Yes. Very good information. All that. All right. All right. So now this is the part that used to be the whole thing where you choose single and 4, single and 3. They don't do it like that anymore, y'all. They changed it up. You got to calculate. You've got to calculate. So here we go. All right. So this part right here says step 2, multiple jobs or the spouse work. Complete this step if you hold more than one job at a time or are married, filing jointly, and your spouse also works. The correct amount of withholding depends on income earned from all of these jobs. Do only one of the following. You can either use the estimator at this website. You can use the multiple jobs worksheet on page 3. If there are only 2 jobs, you may check this box. Blah, 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 blah. For the sake of time, that can get a little more complex. When you're talking about my spouse works multiple jobs, blah, blah, blah. You can read that part on your own. You can read that part on your own. I want you to get the specifics of step 1 about your status and step 3 about the number of allowances, because that's what I'm finding. When people go exempt, you're basically saying you have no allowances or no taxes should be taken out for whatever reason. So, and I'm going to do this as well because most of you guys, you can read up on this. Like I said, it would take us too much time to go over all this. So let's just move right here to the dependents, okay? Because this is what the majority, I would say 85% of you are going to fall into this category. Figure that part out. Now we're down here to the number of dependents. So it says if your total income will be $200,000 or less, $400,000 or less if married filing jointly, multiply the number of qualifying children under age 17 by 2,000. Okay, so this is the same as saying, let's just pretend John has 3 kids, right? We're going to pretend that John has 3 kids. His kids are, y'all remember this, I better write it down before I forget while I'm giving out examples. Hold on. Let me write this. Actually, where'd my pen go? All right. So let's pretend that John has 3 kids. And of course, my pen decides it does not want to write. Y'all, I never write anything. I'm always typing. Okay, whatever. I use my phone. So let's pretend that John has 3 kids, right? His kids are ages 3, 10, and 17. He has 3 children, ages 3, 10, and 17. So in step 3, it says multiply the number of qualifying children under 17. So tell me in the chat, how many kids does John have that's under 17? I told you he has a 3-year-old, a 10-year-old, and a 17-year-old. How many kids does he have under 17? He has a 3-year-old, a 10-year-old, and a 17-year-old. How many kids does he have under 17? Carol, you are absolutely correct. He has two children, right? And the reason they specifically say under 17 is because in order to get the child tax credit, you have to be under 17. But this year they made it 17-year-olds qualify. Now, do we know if that's going to be the case next year? We don't know yet. And obviously not, possibly because of this form, but I don't know. All right, so multiply the number of qualifying children under the age of 17 by 2,000. So he has 2 kids under 17. So what is 2 times $2,000? What is 2 times $2,000? What is 2 times $2,000? 2 kids times $2,000. Exactly. So right here, you would put 4,000. That's showing that he is claiming 2 children under 17. Now, remember, I said he also has a 17-year-old. This one says multiply the number of other dependents by 500. So the 17-year-old is a dependent. That person still lives in that home, but they're over 17. So if you have a dependent in your home, and a dependent cannot be your spouse, by the way. If you have a dependent, maybe it's the older child that still lives at home and they make less than 4,300, or they make very little bit of money, they qualify for what's called an other dependent. So you would just put 500, right? So this is his 2 kids, and this is the 17-year-old. Let's say you had 3 children. If you have 3 children, what would you put on that first line? Y'all tell me. If you had 3 children, what would you put on that first line? What would you put on that first line if you had 3 children? Exactly, 6,000. Right. So if you have 3 children, you would have put 2,000 times the 3 kids. So it will be 6,000. Okay. So does everybody understand? So it's no longer single and 0 and 5 and whatever. If you were putting 9, like some of y'all are like, oh, I'm gonna do single and 9, you would be putting $18,000 right there, because you would be doing 2,000 times 9. Now, if you really got 9 kids, that's different, but I'm just saying. So if you had 1 child, you would just put 2,000. If you had 2 kids, you'd put 4,000. You guys get the point. But the key is to make sure that they're under age 17. Under age 17. My advice as well, if you know your child is going to be, well, let me not go there. I don't want to, let me keep my comment to myself. I was about to give you some different advice on if you have a 17-year-old. But you want to make sure your child is under age 17. Well, no, I'll give you that advice. They need to be under age 17 in 2022, because now we're going in a new tax year. So when you file your 22 taxes, if your child turned 17 and 22, you didn't need to have them up here. So those of you who have 17-year-olds that are 17 now, they need to still be 17 by December 31st for you to add them in that 2,000. If you didn't catch what I'm saying, just catch the replay, because I don't want us to be here all day. Multiply the number of other dependents by 500. So I've already talked about that. So let's go back to John. He had the 2 kids, and then he had, well, let's just pretend he just had the 2 kids and he has the other dependent, right? Add the amounts above and enter the total here. What will we put here, y'all? We're going to add the 4,000 plus the 5,000. So we're going to put 4,500. If he would have only had that 2 kids, he would have just put the 4,000 and that would have been it. All right. So if this was John, on step 4 is other adjustments, other income. If you want tax withheld, right? Personally, I don't really personally, again, let me say this way. If it were me, I'm not thinking about I'm thinking about the extra withholdings. I'm thinking about the extra withholdings because remember, the purpose of this live is about filling out a W 4. And when people fill out W 4s, they actually put too many adjustments. They don't pay enough taxes. So when I'm explaining this, there are other ways this could be done technically, but I'm giving you the things that you need to do to make sure you take out more taxes, if that makes sense. I'm not going to talk about how you can report other income that you make on another job so that they take out less taxes. And no, I'm going to talk about how you can pay more in taxes throughout the year so that you don't end up paying taxes at the end of tax season. So, if this was all he was going to do, so this would be my advice. If this were me, if I were John and I had 2 children right here, and I had my 17-year-old right here, I would take this form, I would sign it, I would date it, and I would turn it in to my employer. Listen to this carefully because you're going to miss it if you get too ahead. Listen to what I'm saying. I would leave this form just like this. Take it to my employer, find out, okay, how long will it take for me to see this on my check? Oh, give it 2 weeks. Cool. I'm monitoring. I'm looking at my check stub. Okay. Nope, they haven't taken it out yet. Nope, they have. Oh, I see they have. Boom. Okay, I know I make $600 a week. So Tiffany told me that I need to be looking for 10%. So, 6,000. They're taking out $400. I get paid every week, but I see that they only took out $400. I needed them to take out 600. Or correction. I'm getting my numbers confused. I make $600 a week. Tiffany told me they should be taking out 10%, which is $60, but I see that they only took out $40 because we know that 10% of 600 is 60. So they should have taken out 60, but they only took out 40. I need to go and adjust my form. Now, what you're going to do, you're going to leave your form just like it is. Listen now. You're going to leave your form just like it is. And you see this little line right here that says extra withholdings? Enter any additional tax you want withheld each pay period. John gets paid every week. John realized they are taking out $20 too little. John is going to say, hey, John is going to keep a copy of this form so he remembers what he filled out, first of all. Then John is going to fill out this form again. And he's going to keep the top part the same, but now he's going to go in here and put 20 because he knows he gets paid every week. They finally started taking taxes out on him, but instead of them taking out the $60 that they needed to take out, they only took out $40. So now he needs them to take out $20 more per week. If you get paid monthly, you have to do that calculation based on monthly. If you get paid bi-weekly, you have to calculate it that way. For example, I had a client yesterday, I think it was. She owed about $1,800 in taxes. First thing I said was, okay, I got my calculator. I said, all right, how much? Actually, let me go with my client today. I had a client today that owed $2,800. And I said, okay, how often do you get paid? She said, I get paid once. I get paid every 2 weeks. Okay, so that tells me this year you paid $2,800 back in taxes because you weren't taking enough out on your check. So I'm going to take that $2,800 that you owed, and I'm going to divide that by the 26 pay periods. So you need to be paying an extra $107.69 a pay period, assuming your income stays exactly the same and you don't get a raise. You could pay this $107.69, Or you can pay a little extra, maybe take out 120 just to make sure. So then what she would have done is went back in here and put 120. Are you guys catching that? Talk to me, talk to me. Let me know. Oh, I had this correct, but nothing was being taken out. So I went back and did line C. She, her, hers. Did they take out more taxes? I didn't even know she was going to say that. See? Did they take out more taxes when you went back in and did that? Exactly. You want to make sure that you are monitoring what they're doing. Don't assume that because you went there, they're going to change it and it's going to be right. No, not at all. You want to make sure that you're monitoring that, make sure that that is changing and that they are taking out taxes. Anybody have any questions about that? Okay. So again, this first, don't do this step until you see your check. Because I don't want you to pay too much taxes, right? But just keep that 10% in mind. If you pay too much, you'll get it back on your taxes. It's no big deal. I would rather you pay too much than to end up in my office or whoever office and they're telling you, oh, you owe $3,000 or oh, you owe 2,000 because you didn't pay enough. Especially those of you who have kids that are aging out, those of you with 17-year-olds and you're used to getting those refunds and now your child is getting older now. And next year you're not going to get the same amount you're used to getting. And you've been used to going exempt all these years. You've been going exempt. You've been doing good. Now your child is too old for you to claim them. Now you got to pay back and you wonder why. Make the adjustments now so that you are used to it and you don't have to worry about that in the future. Okay? Only the amount now. I'm thinking I didn't pay enough still. Okay, so when you get your check, I want you to look in your box number one and your box number. Well, I'm thinking about W2. I want you to look at your gross, and then I want you to look at that says federal taxes withheld. If it's not around 10%, you're not paying enough. Okay. All right. So again, when you fill this out, I only want you to worry about this part first. Now, if you're like me, I don't have any children. So my form would be so simple. I'm speaking to those of you without kids too, because y'all are the main ones that come in here and don't pay enough tax. Well, I can't say that it's both all of you. So if this was me and I have no children, I would be checking single and multiply the number of qualifying children under 17. 0. I have no kids. The number of other dependents, 0. It's just me. Add the total amount, 0. And I'm done. That's it. If you are single, this is what your form should look like. 0, 0, 0. You have no qualifying children. If you don't have any kids, single is what I'm talking about. You have no children, 0. You have nobody else lives with you, 0. Or nobody you take care of, 0. Okay. All right. Now, if you get your check stub and you see, hey, it's still wrong, then you'll go back in here and add your extra, whatever it is. All right. Now I'm gonna give you guys a little bonus. I think we're good on the federal. I see a question. Tiffany, I have one dependent. Should I file single or head of household? It's just me and my daughter in the household. Okay, Tanova, do you rent or do you own the house? Do you rent the house? Do you have a lease with your name on it showing that you are the person who lives in that house and is on that lease? Do you pay the majority of the bills in that house, like the light bill, the water bill? Is all that paid by you or does somebody else pay it? Okay, so you own it. So you would do head of household. Yep. You are the head of household. You are the one that pays more than 50% of your expenses in that home. You pay the mortgage. You said you own it. So yeah, you would be head of household. So for you, Tanova, yours would actually look like this. So if I was to Nova, mine would look like this. I would have head of household. I have one child. I'm assuming your child is under 17, and it would just look like that. Now, when your child does turn 17, so you would have your totals would look like this. Okay. That's how yours would look to Nova. But then if you see that you're still not paying enough taxes after you check that a few times, you add some more there. Now, if your child is 17 or older and they live with you, then yours would look like this. Okay. Oops. Nope. Turn that off. Yours would look like this. All right. If you had a 17-year-old. Now I'm going to give you guys a bonus. You're welcome. You're definitely welcome. I'm going to give you guys a bonus and I'm going to show you about this Georgia form. You guys know I'm based out of Georgia. And you know what the weird thing is, though, with my clients coming to office, a lot of them will pay more Georgia taxes than they pay on federal. I don't know why. So I'm going to go ahead and put this in here. And I'm going to give you my advice on Georgia. And then we'll be done. So let me pull up Georgia here. All right, so Georgia's form looks very similar to the old federal form, okay? It looks very similar. So I'm going to share my screen, share screen, Chrome, Here we go. All right, can you guys see it? Can you see it? Let me know. So if you are in Georgia, if you're in another state, yours may look similar. I'm not sure. I only live in Georgia, so I can only tell you about Georgia. Okay. So those of you and most of my clients, I work with clients all across the United States. I have clients everywhere, but most of them are in Georgia because, of course, I'm a Georgia peach and I'm in Georgia. So, all right. So can you guys see it? Let me know that you can see it. Ah, thank you, Ben Harris. Glad you appreciate this information. Glad you like it. Glad you like it. Great to have you on, one of our YouTube viewers. Thank you. All right. So, the Georgia form, okay? Let me just tell you guys this. Georgia has one of the highest tax rates of any state. Georgia's tax rate is extremely high. Okay? It's high. So, what I always, let me stop sharing for a second so y'all can see my face clearly. What I always tell my clients is I would advise you to pay Georgia a little more. Pay them a little bit more because Georgia is a very high tax rate. Okay? All right. So, here we go. And we're almost done, y'all. I promise I won't keep you all night. I know it's Friday. All right, Georgia, same thing. We got John Johnson. John has to put his social security number 12300, blah, 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 blah. Oh, you can't put the hyphens. And you can always fill this form out online and just take it to your job. Some of your employers probably use ADP, which is an online payment processor. That's what I actually use for my employees. So you would fill this out online. Doesn't matter if you're doing it online, doesn't matter if you're doing it by paper. The information is still the same. You're going to put in your address, 257 Wilson Lane. City and state, this is Georgia. So we're going to go with Savannah, Georgia here. Okay. Now, remember I told you this form is very similar to the old 10, I'm thinking 1099, the old W4. This is very similar to the 2019 W4. Now, this is probably what you're used to, but you guys still fill it out wrong. I get clients all the time. They have 0 paid in federal and 0 paid in state. No, no, no. So here we go. Okay. I always advise for clients to go one less than what they really are. So if you really have, my advice, if you really have two dependents, let me just show you. All right, so let's say single. So you have single, you have married filing joint, you have married filing joint with both spouses working, you have married filing joint with one spouse working, you have married filing separate, and you have head of household. We're not going to go into details with all of these because I already told you guys before, right? It's me. I have no kids. I'm single. I could choose either 0 or 1. So remember how I said I advise you to go one less? I always advise you to put 0 because they're going to take out a little more. So I would put 0 here. I wouldn't put 1. If I put 1, they're going to take out a little less taxes. I would put 0 so they could take out a little bit more because it's Georgia. Georgia has a high tax rate. I wouldn't put 1. If I'm married filing joint and me and my husband both work, it tells you enter 0 or 1. I'm not going to put 1. I'm going to put 0. If I'm married filing joint and one spouse is working, it has enter 0 or 1 or 2. Again, you could either put 0 or 1 in that case, but it depends on what's being taken out of your check. So you have to just monitor that and see. Head of household, 0 or 1. Again, I'm going to tell you to put 0. That's just my opinion. Dependent allowances, real simple. How many kids are you claiming under 17? In the last case, John had 3 kids, and one of them was 17 and the other 2 were not. So he would put 2. Additional allowances, this is everybody that's 17 or older that you take care of. He would put 1. Again, Georgia has a very high tax rate. Me personally, I wouldn't worry about anybody that's over 17, that's 17 or older. Me personally, if it were me, again, I'm not giving legal or financial advice. I'm just telling you what I would do in this situation. If it were me and I had 3 children, I would leave it just like this because my 17-year-old would fall right under here. Okay. In Georgia, the tax rate is super high. If you go one less, you shouldn't have to do the additional withholding. The additional withholding is the same as on the W-4. You find out you need to pay more, you go in, you put the extra. If you do what I'm telling you here, you shouldn't need to do that. So if you're head of household, let's do another example. Head of household, I have 3 kids. Head of household, I'm going to go here, I'm going to put 0. I'm going to go here, I'm going to put 3. And then I'm going to sign and date it and turn it in. That's all I'm putting on this paper. That's it. I'm married. Talk to the married people. Married filing joint. So first thing I need to figure out, am I the only one working? Are me and my husband both working? Am I working and my husband or wife is on disability, which means one spouse is working? So let's just say that because I do have several clients who one spouse works and the other one is on disability, or one is the breadwinner and the other one is a stay-at-home mom or dad. So let's just pretend we're married filing joint. One spouse is working. So I could be 0 or 1 or 2. If you want to, you can start out with 1 and just see how they do on the taxes. Since only one parent is one of you are working, that might be good for you. Now, if you don't have any dependents, you might want to do 0. But if you do have dependents, you might be okay in leaving it at 1. And let's say you got 2 kids, you might be okay. But now if you're married and only one spouse is working and you don't have any kids, you might want to do 0 just to be on the safe side. So it just really just depends. Okay. So I hope you guys got something out of that. That's just a brief overview of how you do Georgia. Georgia's form is simple. You don't have to do any calculations. Just remember to go one less than, just to make sure you're paying enough taxes, okay? And then all you're going to do at the bottom, oh, I'm wrong. Oops, correction. I forgot about section 7. I'm sorry. Let me go back. Let's go back to John. John is head of household, 0. John has 2 dependents, boom. Because the 17-year-old, we're not going to put that 1 here. Now we have to calculate letter seven. Number seven says the letter used A, B, C, D, or E. So we used E. So we're going to come down here and we're going to just put E because that tells them that we use head of household. Total allowances, totals of line 3 through 5. So 3 through 5. So if we had a 1 over here, which I'm telling y'all to do zeros, unless you're in this situation. So we would add 0 plus 2 equals 2. So we're going to come over here and put 2. I forgot the letter. I'm sorry about that. Do not go exempt because you don't need to be. No, we ain't going to even talk about that. Now you're going to sign, date, done. If you had chosen single, you would have put letter A. If you chose one of these other statuses, you would have put those letters. Okay. If you did the merit filing joint, remember I told you could have done 1 here. Let's say you did 1 because you wanted them to take out a little bit less taxes because there's only one person working and you might need to see a little bit more of your income because things are kind of tight right now. You only got one spouse working. So maybe you don't want to go all the way to 0, so you don't want to go all the way to 2, but don't go past 1 on that case. If you're single head of household, I would advise, it's up to you, do 0. But if you're married, filing joint, and only one spouse is working, if you want to put 1, and then you have the 2 dependents here. So letter used, you would come down here. You would say you use letter C, total number of allowances. Now you've got to add up because look, total of lines 3 through 5. This is 3. So don't forget to add this one. So now you got to add 1 plus 2, which is 3. Okay. Then you're going to come down here. You're going to sign, you're going to date, and you're done. Hope you guys got some good information. Leave me some comments in the chat. Tell me what you thought about this. Tell me what you thought. We have been on here an hour. I feel like I was in school teaching again. But nobody should have a question. Guy on my YouTube that said I talk slow. You probably gonna think I talk real slow in this video as well, but I just want to make sure that people understand me. So give me some comments in the chat, guys. Tell me what you thought about this. Did you learn something? Would you like to see me do more educational videos like this? Will you be making any changes? Will you be making any changes to how you are filing? Will you be making any changes to how you're filing, you're doing your W-4s and G-4s? Are you currently taking out enough taxes? Are you going to go to your HR department tomorrow or Monday and tell them, hey, I need to change my W-4? All right. So tell me what your thoughts are. Mr. G. Cole, what's going on, Garrett Cole? G. Cole is in the building. G. Cole is in the building. Happy birthday. Happy birthday, Garrett Cole. Garrett is also in the tax profession as well. I think I had a question up here too that I missed earlier. Somebody asked, where was that question? Oh, Shakiria Snyder, one of our clients. Hey, Shakiria. She said, I have a friend that said, will the rest of her child tax credit go on her taxes or does she have to file it? So I'm assuming you meant if she was getting the monthly payments, will she get the rest? If she was getting the monthly payments, yes, she will get the rest on her taxes. She does have to file it. She's going to want to make sure that she has letter 6419, or she's going to want to go on the IRS website and get her tax transcript or log into her portal to see how much she was paid, so that when she gets the difference of what she was paid previously versus what she's going to get on her tax return, I want to make sure that information is accurate. So absolutely. All right. All right, guys. So I'm going to get off here. Thank you so much for joining me on this Friday night. I'm going to get back to these tax returns. I'll be working a little longer. So thank you guys for tuning in, and I will chat with you later.